Frenzy Podcast.
Hey, how's it going, my friends? This is Nick from the Nerd Frenzy Podcast. Guys, today we could do something a little bit different, and we could have my wonderful cousin, the beautiful, the Italian, the Lukas Long, everyone.
I am Lucas of the Long Clan.
The Long Clan. And I am also Nick of the Long Clan.
Yes, Long be long.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's one. Okay, I've been asking you to do this for a while, and you wanted to do something really unique, and so you thought about it for a little bit, and you came back and you said, "Let's do little mini debates," and I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I just like to keep things interesting. Try to keep my attention at least while this goes for however long.
So what you're trying to say in a nice way is your selfish tendencies is actually the only thing that's here, like making you here in the first place. So thanks for that. Thanks for being supportive.
No problem.
Oh,
I also wanted to wait till you actually built up an audience. You know, I meant for at least 24 viewers, you know, if not 36. So.
Oh, well, since they're going to find out that you're a part, I might get one or two. So thanks for nothing. So a little backstory about like Lucas is actually really good also with the movies, and he's even though him and I almost disagree on, oddly enough, everything. His the way you debate. You could beat me in what I would feel would be an obvious, like if I said Empire Strikes Back and you said that movie's garbage, which I know you wouldn't say that because you love Empire Strikes Back, but even though I have the obvious, like, well, you're talking about the best Star Wars movie there is, so you should be fine, and you know what you're talking about a little bit, but then all of a sudden here comes Lucas and makes me feel like a fool. So it's just one of those things. I did this with Brent the very first time, and you guys never saw it on air, but he proved that same thing. So this time around, we're going to do these little...
You know what I think you're doing? I think what you're doing is painting yourself as the underdog here.
I'm the Rocky Balboa.
You're setting me up to fail.
What I'm doing, everyone, is I'm putting all the pressure off of me, and I'm putting it onto you, because I am a nice host like that.
I feel like... what's his name from Airplane when he's sweating?
That's actually... Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a good movie, by the way. I put that movie up there. I mean, I would say that it's tied at least with Blazing Saddles as being the best comedy of all time.
Comedy? Well, I mean that's a whole nother episode.
I know, seriously, seriously.
Comedy.
Absolutely. But
I also want to point out too.
Oh no, here we go.
Just your attire. I mean, that is the most anti-nerd shirt you could possibly have on right now.
It's also the most comfortable shirt I have, if I'm being honest with you.
I'm sure you have a dozen nerd-related shirts. I mean, at least I got a Star Wars-related one. At least
I have a Star Wars mug in my hand, and that's part of my attire. So how dare you, sir?
Yeah. Mandalorian doesn't count as Star Wars. Right?
Okay, that's what I'm telling you, everyone. This is the guy who did not like Mandalorian. And I remember I called you up, like, oh my gosh, let's talk about Mandalorian. And you're like, let's not. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to try something completely new. And we have a little random list that on a website that you found. And we're going to press a little button, and it's going to spit out a movie. And then we're going to do a coin flip, and it's going to tell us who is talking good about the movie and who is talking bad about the movie. And it's a debate. I mean, and the funny thing about all these movies is they're probably all, you and I probably like all of them, but we're going to see how we do. And people, if you guys want to just put in the comments who you think won. I mean, there's no real pressure on you and I, but if you guys want to go ahead and put it in there, I'm curious. So I'm just going to put it out there because I'm a competitive person, and I want to know when I won.
Vicious.
I know, serious.
Yeah. Oh, I thought this was supposed to be for fun. You know?
No, I got you on here, and now destroy him.
I need a few more hours to study.
All right, guys, we'll be back in 3 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours later.
But yeah, let's go ahead and see what happens. Let's get started and get this going. And I guess.
I just want to
and-
point out too, and
here we
everybody's
go.
probably like, "Why am I looking down all the time?" You probably can't. I don't even know if you can actually see my eyes, but it's because I'm looking at Nick down here, but my webcam's up there. So,
Joke's on
I
you.
want to see Nick, but I also want to talk to you guys.
I'm looking.
I'm gonna be going like this the whole time.
Next time I'll hang my phone. Next time I'll hang my phone to where it's right next to my webcam, so then it could be perfect. And this is what I'm telling you guys about. This is what I'm talking. Every time I try to call Lucas and say, "Hey, I want to tell you about a pleasant experience I had watching this movie," and then he has a pleasant time telling me how much the movie disgusted him and gave him nightmares because it was so awful. So this is the kind of fun I'm about ready to have, aka no fun at all.
Several bad puns later.
Pretty much how it's going to work is Lucas is going to have a couple things on his webpage that he's going to click on a random movie, and then he's also going to click do a coin flip, and then one of us is going to say something good about the movie, and the other one's going to say something bad about the movie, and then we're going to have just
You're basically going to say why the movie is a good movie or why it's a bad movie.
yeah, simple as that. Simple as that. So let's
We get a minute apiece, uninterrupted. Then we'll take a minute afterwards to digest what we each said. I guess.
I like it, and I like the word digest, and it was a perfect setting. Let's do this.
The nerd frenzy way.
All right. Well, we ready for the first movie then?
Yes, and who's going first? How are we doing this?
Well, I just did the movie.
Okay.
So the movie's going to be Edge of Tomorrow,
Okay.
and then I'll flip for you, and we'll just say that heads is you say why it's a good movie, and tails you say why it's a bad movie.
Okay.
And we'll be flipping for you. So.
Okay. I'm nervous.
It's heads. So
nice.
you gotta tell us why it's a good movie.
Okay. So you guys got to understand one thing about Edge of Tomorrow. It's like any kind of time travel movie, except the difference is he's trying to find out how to stop a war to pretty much destroy all of human race. So he pretty much has a Groundhog's Day version where he goes back and he has to try to figure out exactly what to do because he actually got some kind of like alien part of him. So we get to see him go back and forth and then try to get the same people involved. And then every single day he has to go back and in a very cleverly way somehow tell them, you need to help me. We got this far so far. Even though you've never met me, I've met you for a long time now. And it's this really engaging story with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt that shows them trying to destroy the aliens that try to take over them. And you see this beautiful movie unfold of a guy doing whatever it takes, seeing him sacrifice his life every single day to make sure and get the quest done of saving all of mankind.
So was that it, or were you just summarizing the movie there?
I felt like, first of all, if someone hasn't seen
Your time has elapsed.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm just saying, like, for my argument, I was helping the viewer understand what I was going through. So I was painting the picture, which is my way of arguing. Lucas, don't judge me.
Just read the plot synopsis from IMDb.
I know. I've never even heard of it. Okay.
Maybe we should, also on the next one we give a little 10-second summary of the movie in case somebody's unfamiliar.
Yeah, let's do that. Absolutely. Perfect.
All right,
So you're timing yourself.
Yeah. I'll start saying why it's a bad movie then.
All right.
So I guess the whole movie centers around, like you said, Tom Cruise. He loops back, every single day, fighting the same battles over and over again. But the thing is, how did he get into that position? So you have these things called mimics. That's the main enemy. And there's certain ones called alphas. When these alphas apparently die and bleed on you, that's when you gain the ability to loop through each day. So why are these alphas out on the battlefield? Why aren't they? Because they can hide in the dirt and the sand. Because they do that in the movies. They come up for an attack. Why aren't they just hiding the whole time? While the other, the betas are running around fighting. That would completely eliminate the possibility of this scenario where a guy gains the ability of the alien species to control time. Movie over.
I heard the little beep too. I heard it. I heard a little, like a little. It's like a little. It's like for you, it's probably this big old like, but for me, it's like a little chip, chip.
Yeah, it's very loud. I you know, it's funny is that was my first argument, but I took too long. I should have watched the timer more.
And one thing that you did, which you made fun of me for, is you kind of just said the synopsis again. You kind of like, yeah, there's an alpha and a beta, and you know, it's like,
Well, well, no. I mean, I actually had a point there. You know, when you tell a story, you gotta have a point.
sorry, Dale Griffin, I kind of ruined your steam.
Yeah.
No,
Jeez.
the thing is I felt like the whole movie, if it was even 5 minutes short, it could have destroyed the integrity of what they were trying to do. And I felt like the movie had a perfect, the whole time it had a perfect flow, and I don't think there was any missteps. Yeah, you could say that about the alpha and the beta, but that's might as well say the same thing about the eagle trying to go get Frodo and drop the ring right there. Well, you know, don't destroy the whole thing from that little petty
But
argument, okay?
there's a reason the Eagles didn't assist Frodo all the way to Mountain Doom. You know, read the books, Nick. Read the books.
They're too busy doing their own little battle, and yeah, okay.
They're not just animals that you can use at your leisure.
I know
They're sentient. They're sentient beings.
I know.
You know.
But don't, okay? So, yeah, anyways. Let's do the next one, my friend.
Okay. All right, here we go. All right, next movie is Whiplash. So, for those unfamiliar, Whiplash is about a drumming student trying to be great, and his teacher pushes him to the limits. So I'll flip for me,
Push it
and
to
then
the
again,
limits.
heads you say why it's a good movie, and tails you say why it's a bad movie.
All right.
It's heads, so I shall go first. Reset the timer. Here we go.
Good luck.
All right, so this movie, at its core, you know, is just about a guy trying to get better as a drummer. But the whole relationship between the student and the teacher is very intense. Like the whole movie, you feel the stress of the student, you feel the passion of the teacher, slightly abusive, but the teacher, J.K. Simmons, brilliant performance. He's got one purpose in life, and that's to create the next legendary musician. So he does everything in his power, you know, to make his students great. If that happens to be throwing a chair at him, you know, it is what it is. But the whole movie, you're just sitting on the edge of your seat, just, you know, you don't know what's going to happen next. It's very simple. They're just basically playing the drums, getting better. He's bleeding the whole time. I mean, this guy is struggling, you know, with bleeding fingers and everything. There we go.
The last thing he said
Yeah,
was struggling with bloody fingers, everything.
It's actually kind of hard to do. I mean, in a minute, like.
Yeah, well, and knowing that people are watching you, and that knowing that, like, 'cause
Yeah.
if we're all just sitting there kind of around the campfire and we're like, hey, let's talk about a movie, then it's easy kind of just to
Yeah.
do it. But when you're doing like, all right, go, and then you just got to turn it on, like, yes, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's like breathing underwater for several minutes. It's just not possible.
Oh, I can do 3. Well, back in the day, I could do 3, but I'd probably do like 1.5 now. All right, here we go. Negative things about Whiplash. Okay, so you say that it was suspenseful, and it was suspenseful the whole time you watch it. But I felt like you know, you think, oh, a guy playing the drums, bleeding. All I saw the whole time was something that was making me cringe. I saw this kid who was like destroying everything else. He had a wonderful girlfriend, a beautiful relationship, that he decided, you know what, I'm more passionate about my drum thing, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of you. And it was very pretentious, and yes, it was honest, and I appreciate that, but it was pretentious, and it was very selfish of him doing that. And then he goes back, and then all that stuff goes down to where J.K. Simmons gets rid of him, and then he comes back and he tries to call her and is like, oh, well, I want you back now. And she goes, nope. And then he's just like, okay. And then the whole time you're sitting there going, dude, you're kind of a loser for how you put yourself in front of other people. And yeah, you're passionate, but at what cost? You're kind of being a piece of crap to everyone around you. And the way you were around your family setting was really uncomfortable because they were just talking about their kids playing football. I had some good stuff. I was going for it too. I was feeling it. I didn't.
You were
And
going for it.
the last thing I didn't talk about
You
was
were going
bloody
for it.
fingers too. So. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's one of those movies that the whole time you feel unsettled, but I felt like not in a good way at all. It's more like oh, I have a stomachache the same way I have a stomachache when I'm watching Saw, and that is not why I wanted to watch this movie. I have no problem watching a movie about a passionate person, but he was so passionate it made him like
Yeah,
stupid.
but you have the feeling, as you said, Saw, a horror movie. If you have the feeling of a horror movie from watching just like a simple drama about a drummer, I mean, that's pretty good.
But that's not what they were trying to
That's pretty
establish.
rare.
They're trying to establish like how two people, like including J.K. Simmons, are pushing and being pushed to the limit of being crazy, and all you see is like him getting in car accidents instead of him worrying about what's going on around him, like the person who hit him and whatnot. He's so self-involved that everything else around him is like, oh, not important. And those kind of people are the ones that cause for there to be problems in the first place.
I would argue though that those types of people are the ones who become great, the
And
ones who make the sacrifices of those relationships and everything.
yeah. And I would say that I hate talking crap about this movie because it's fantastic. That was a hard one because yeah, it's there is something about that movie too where you are watching it and it does kind of make you cringe, but not in a bad way. It's more like you're waiting for that tension to be relieved, and it never does until the very, very end of the most satisfying climaxes I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they don't even. You know what's happening because obviously they scroll up at the end and all you see is his eyes going up and down.
Like that's my
basically
perfect.
saying that. Yeah, I forgot what the line was that he said in the movie, but the thing you're not supposed to say to a person, otherwise they stop trying. But he's like good job or something.
Yeah, he said that's the worst thing you can tell someone because it
Right.
does nothing for them. Yeah, yeah. But that's a good
But
movie
then
to talk
he
about.
says it, and you feel good.
No. And you know what's funny is I think the horror kind of elements of the pacing, the way he's trying to get to the place on time and he's late, but it's like the constant stomachache. The only movie I've ever watched that I felt more tension watching throughout the whole thing than that was Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I have seen that one. I would say it was more tension.
It gave me
It was a good movie.
because the whole time he's sitting there just making stupid decisions that's affecting his family, his relationship with everyone, and it's disgusting that you're seeing this disgusting thing he's doing, and then at the end he sadly there's consequences to the way he acts.
Yeah, such is life.
Yeah, so is life. All right, bud, let's do our next one, my friend. Good
Okay.
good debate. I would say that you definitely have the stronger pull in that one.
I don't know. That you had a pretty good argument there.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
This one is a good one. Labyrinth.
And you mean David Bowie's Labyrinth, not Pan's Labyrinth, right?
If I meant Pan's Labyrinth, I would have said Pan's Labyrinth.
Hey everyone, this is me
That's two separate
apologizing.
movies. Labyrinth and Pan's Labyrinth. There's a whole nother word there.
Okay. I'm sorry for my Spanish-speaking viewers that wanted to see Pan's Labyrinth instead.
Yeah. So do you want to give a brief synopsis, and then we'll flip the coin?
Yeah, absolutely. So how this whole little fantasy world works is if someone wishes for their baby brother or sister to be taken away by the Goblin King, he will come and take them. And then if they choose to challenge, which Sarah does, then they have to go through all these little mazes and whatnot and all these challenges to finally get to him. And it was all like a big old story, a nursery rhyme that she used to read when she was younger. And it kind of all like melded into it. But the best part, of course, is David Bowie.
Yeah. The original horror story.
Watch your mouth when it comes to DB.
All right. I'll flip for you. Heads
Okay.
or tails again.
Okay.
It is tails. Oh man, that's a shame. I actually was kind of looking forward to saying why it was bad, but anyway, I'll say why it's good. I suppose.
All right. So does that mean I go first then?
No, I go first.
All right, cool. First always goes first. Sounds good. Go for it,
First
son.
always goes first. All right, so it's a movie with puppets. It's very hard to pull off movies with puppets. It does it brilliantly. The set design, the costume design is fantastic. The dialogue is very good and funny. Ludo, in particular, is one of the funniest characters, and he has great lines like Ludo, or he doesn't say Ludo, smell bad. You know, when they get in that bog of the stench or whatever. But anyway, this whole movie is about a tale of redemption. You know, the sister wishes her brother away. Uh, she immediately regrets it when he's actually taken. You know, it was an impulse decision summoning the Goblin King. But then she rectifies it. She goes through the entire labyrinth, faces several struggles and obstacles, including the helping hands and all that. And then she fights the Goblin in song and comes out victorious.
Don't listen anymore. What he's saying. It's time's up, and you cannot. Jury, do not count what that last part he said.
All right.
All right, cool. Okay, and here I go. So the real problem with the Labyrinth is the movie starts off with this spoiled brat girl whose dad has remarried a stepmom, and you can tell immediately that she like treats her mom like the mom even says she treats me like a wicked stepmother. So we have to deal with this little brat who actually wishes for her brother to be sent away, and then she realizes that it can't be that way. So she spends the rest of the movie making bad decisions, going the wrong way most of the time, not listening direction correctly. And you find out that she's a schmuck in every single way, and she has a lot of lovable people trying to guide her, and all she keeps on doing is getting lost by David Bowie and his little songs from the 80s, which that's embarrassing, by the way. You're gonna get stuck with a guy who's still who's a Goblin King, and he's singing little "It's just the cruel world." I mean, come on, and then it's embarrassing, and she's like a little ballerina, and then she forgets that she's like trying to rescue her son. She's selfish, and the movie's selfish for letting that.
You know, it's funny that you talked about them singing. One of the arguments I wanted to make for it being bad was just like, why are goblins bursting out into song?
Yeah,
First of all,
yeah.
like they're goblins. They didn't do that in Lord of the Rings.
Seriously though, and it's one of those things because it's David Bowie and because he's already kind of considered to be very, I don't know, he's very androgynous with the way he is, so it kind of worked that character anyways. If you would have had someone like, I don't know, who would be a good example, Mick Jagger, it might have been a completely different feeling of a movie. But there's something about David Bowie that I just found to be pretty much the only ingredient. I mean, of course, you have Jim Henson's like story and everything, but I think David Bowie, funny enough, was what carried the movie.
You know, it's funny that the Goblin King is a human. I mean, he appears to be a human.
It never made sense. And I think the only reason why, and this is just me thinking, is they made him kind of pretty. And I'm wondering if they just let's just use David Bowie's likeness and just make him pretty, because he's supposed to because it's kind of weird and creepy when you think about it. But he's kind of seducing Sarah, which she's 16 years old and he's 45, and he's kind of seducing her with all these well, first of all, he has like all the dolls and stuff there, but he's doing this like Sarah, and it's like, oh, stop, dirty old perv.
Yeah. He's probably several hundred years old as the Goblin King.
Yeah, absolutely, and probably uglier than Hoggle. And like underneath the actual because he it makes no sense that he was a human. If they would have did the whole Angelica Houston witches thing for him, that would have been kind of unique. But then again, I think one of my fondest things about that movie is just seeing David Bowie.
Right. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
All right, next one. Let's see here. We already got that one. Ooh, this is a tough one. The Breakfast Club.
Oh wow. Okay, I don't want to get bad on that one. That movie's so fantastic.
So I'll flip for myself. I got tails, so you're up first.
Yeah, good luck with that, by the way. All right. Okay, so if you want to talk about movies that really just kind of redefines what it is to be a teenager and to go through all the bullcrap we go through, the best movie I would say of all time to do that is Breakfast Club. And the reason why it is the best movie of all time to do that is because it has like almost every representation of what we are as people in terms of like personality traits, and it has each one of them like doing the stereotypical jock thing or the nerd thing or the bully thing, and then you see and then you break it all down, and it's not like a one layered movie. There's so many dimensions because it then shows like every single person, including the pretty popular girl, they all have problems, and then they find out that together, called themselves a Breakfast Club, that they have more in common than they realize, and that they could possibly have a friendship even though they're completely different. And that whole idea is what gives us kind of hope, just in general, because that whole time in high school, it's very scary. And for that to say, hey, it is possible to get along. I don't want to talk about it, okay? I had 45 more minutes of things to say.
Okay. All right. Why it's bad. So, first of all, you're stereotyping people. You're putting them into singular categories. Princess, a criminal, a jock. People have multiple layers. Yeah, maybe you see one additional layer by the end of the movie, but there's so much more than what's on the surface. So, first of all, that's just terrible stereotyping. You got to stay away from that. Second, second of all,
sorry about that.
they have, there's really no growth, okay, in this movie. None of the characters actually grow, because who believes after sitting there for 4 hours with somebody that the princess, the prom queen, is going to actually publicly date the school criminal on Monday? She's not going to step out with him. There's no way. 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever they spent together, that's not enough. Also, the clock's 20 minutes fast. That's not good for attendance.
You disgust me. Hey, this is what you should have done whenever they say that you had the bad part of that. You just said, I decline. I respectfully decline, because that is Breakfast Club you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a part in that movie, I think my favorite part, me personally, especially now the older I get, where the principal is just talking crap about the kids, and then the janitor, out of all people, says, hey, they're just kids. And it's like the wisest person in this movie is the janitor, and that's just kind of an example of why this movie is so interesting. Why is that?
You know why he's the wisest?
Why is that? Because he sees. Because he sees all every.
He's the eyes and ears of that institution, my friend.
Oh man, I like it.
Here, that's a good one.
All of his movies, they had an ability to be able to take something. And the funny thing is 80s for the most part is a lot of misses, but when you see movies like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I mean, you see these movies and there's so much oomph to all of them, even though they're just like on the surface a very typical movie, but there's so much layers to all of them that you can't help but just commend, like, for the.
Well, except for Breakfast Club, it has no depth. I think I established.
when you said that, like, oh, and by the way, stereotypes are bad, Nick, I'm just like, and what can you say, by the way? It's like, oh, and you did a pretty good job in trying to distance it, but that's a hard one.
Yeah. Did they even have breakfast?
They had. I know the lunch club is what they should have called it, because they all had lunch.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, they never have breakfast.
Yeah, but the sad thing is, I don't think the lunch club has a good ring to it, and Breakfast Club definitely does.
Yeah, but that's misleading.
It is misleading, but it misled us into a wonderful movie, though.
Well,
I accidentally stumbled in there, even though it was made in '85 and I would have been 1 year old. I accidentally stumbled in there going, "Oh,
child abuse.
I've been betrayed." Is it child?
Kids into a closet too? That's child abuse?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's child abuse to throw your kid in a movie theater.
Also, what kind of insult is "eat my shorts"?
Well, that's something that I keep want to say Brad Pitt, but it was not. Bart Simpson says Brad Pitt.
You're telling me they took something from The Simpsons and put it in the Breakfast Club?
No. I'm not telling you that at all. I'm just saying that's. Well, first of all, I remember in the '90s or 2000s when they said, was it that's about a spoon, using a spoon, like eat me with a spoon or something like that, and I remember thinking that's stupid too.
Eat me with a spoon.
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't participate. Do the next one. Do the next one.
We'll go on. God, what a terrible movie. Okay. Jeez. This is kind of a tough one too. Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this movie basically, Michael Cera plays a nerd who wants to date a girl, and to date the girl, he has to literally fight her exes, and that's the story. So I think I'm flipping for you.
You're flipping
correct?
for me. Yep. It's
So,
my turn. Yep.
Heads.
Oh, good. 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 Well, you know what? That could be. I think that could be a good argument for both sides, actually, because that is an odd one, isn't it? All right. Cool. Let me go and get started here. Okay, so one thing that we get to see when we see Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is it's a completely original concept where they're using a lot of things like them playing the guitar, and you actually like see the sound waves and being used as like a superpower. I've never quite seen a superhero take on it, and of course, it comes from I believe it's a manga, and it's the same kind of style where it's very flashy and it's very silly, and the whole time I'm entertained, and you just see like small little things, and and you see every single battle, they're completely different and refreshing every single time. You see a lot of these actors doing odd things that are out of body experience, which you would never assume an actor like that would do that, and then you just see this weird movie that kind of puts you out of like the place where you're just looking around going, what an odd movie I just watched. And how many movies can we really say, Lucas, that we've seen in our lifetime that really does kind of put us in a different world for a little while, even though it's not like Lord of the Rings, but it still made me feel like it's all right.
Aliens. Jeez.
You don't even
All
like
right.
he doesn't like Alien, everyone. I'm just gonna say it.
Don't even have to roll on that one. All right, so why it's bad is first of all, it's a very niche movie. You know, it caters to video gamers, and that's pretty much it. I hate video games. Why would I want to watch a movie like that? They've got coins and high scores and hearts for level ups or coming back to life. I mean, it's stupid. You know, it's childish. That's what that's what this movie is. The main one of the main characters, the main girl doing is roller skating through snow and melting the snow as she's roller skating. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. Chris Evans was in it. I mean, as a skateboarder, come on. He's an actor skateboarder. Choose a lane, guys. Is he an actor or is he a skateboarder? I don't know. It's a waste of talent, is what it is. Pick a path. I mean, there's really not much more to say. It's just a garbage movie.
And was there everything to say it in the first place? When you started saying like, "What is he, a skateboarder or is he an actor?" I'm thinking, "Wow, man, you're going for it now."
I watched that a couple weeks ago. It's a fantastic movie. I love that movie.
When you said it wasn't realistic, I'm like, "Well, isn't that what makes it good? Is it's not realistic?"
Yeah. What's he say? He goes.
Jeez.
He goes. There's a quote he says when he's talking to the vegan guy. He goes, you were a vegan, now you'll be gone. Or something.
Yeah. Because he eats like his third like, well, that's dairy, and then Thomas Jane, the old Punisher, comes out with another guy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I remember they do a little high five after they capture him. They do a little high five, like yeah, and it's like they're so silly, and the whole movie just is refreshing. And like I was saying when I first started talking, when you see like the energy coming out of the guitar, and it kind of just it makes you feel like you're like it's like one of the best versions of making you feel like you're actually in like reading a comic book for once.
Yeah. No, they do a good job of that. It's a terrible movie, but they do a good job of that.
All right, let's do the next one, my friend.
Okay. All right. Deep Blue Sea.
Okay.
What was that? Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you give me the role for talking crap about it, it should be pretty easy.
Jeez. All right. Well, this movie.
Sorry to not lighten the mood or something, but
I try to put on here, some movies that weren't like, the greatest movie of all time.
yeah, you proved it just now, didn't you?
I actually watched this a couple days ago too. It's on Netflix now. It's fantastic. Brings back memories. So who am I flipping for?
You're flipping for yourself this time.
Okay, here we go. All right, I get heads, which means I get to go first. Get my timer all ready to go. All right. First of all, this is a very realistic shark attack movie. They actually have a goal and a purpose, and that purpose. I'm going to add 5 seconds to my time for this intro.
Add 10 with that kind of crap of starting off.
Jeez. I'm resetting.
Oh.
All right. Let me reiterate.
All right,
This
go
is
ahead.
a very realistic shark attack movie. They have a purpose. There's a point to it. They want to develop, a dementia cure. Very noble cause. And in doing so, you got to get this protein from the shark brain. So why is that important? You got me all flustered now. Anyway, I'm just gonna skip past the why.
I'm just looking at you.
Look, in this movie, you actually get a very profound speech from Samuel Jackson on the humanity of people in general. In an avalanche, and they resorted to some bad things to survive that. And he was going through this little story, then he ends up getting eaten, sadly. But
No, you're doing great, Lucas. Hey, can we do it again where I talk highly of it and do a better job? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, well,
Whoa,
so here's mine. I don't say anything. I still win. No, I'm just kidding. All right, here I go.
I didn't know you could be heckled.
Seriously. And that's why I was flustered, Nick. Oh, okay, you can use me as much as you want. All right, here I go. So the reason why this movie is not very good because it hasn't aged even as well as something like Jaws has, which Jaws came out in the 70s. And this movie, I'm talking, boy, this movie came out in the early 2000s and it looked faker than Jaws did. And that's not a good thing, by the way. And then you have decent actors like Samuel Jackson and Thomas Jane. And first of all, the first time you see Thomas Jane, he's swimming with sharks and like dodging them like all of a sudden out of the way. Like humans can do that. Like we can dodge sharks like we're some kind of special creature ourselves. Like we're the gill guy in Waterworld, which is another excellent movie, by the way. But this is a movie where the funniest and the best part was whenever Samuel L. Jackson, like you said, was making the speech and he gets eaten out of nowhere. And other than that, the movie is boring and I am not really caring if anyone in the movie dies. And that is never a good sign, especially in horror movies. Whenever you're not caring about anyone's lives being preserved, you know that you have made a stinker of a movie. And that's why no one talks about Dumb Blue Sea. I'm going to go and throw that out real quick. I looked over at the timer and I said 2 seconds and I'm like, oh, let's close this strong. Dumb Blue Sea. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm feeling pretty good about that.
I mean, yeah, the audience knows clearly who won that argument.
They knew once you started talking who won.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I actually like that movie.
I do too. I was teasing, and even though I do agree I don't think it's aged very well. I did enjoy it when I first watched it, and I still I think I enjoyed it. I watched it 5 years ago, and it was cornier than it used to be, but it held up in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, very realistic.
When you started saying first thing you said is realistic, I'm like, okay, are we having playtime or something? What's going on here? Yeah. Realistic. That's the first thing I was going to say to defend against it is it's not very realistic, and that's the first thing you said. I'm like, well, okay.
Jeez. All right. All right, here's a good one. Arctic.
Okay.
Tale of survival in the Arctic. Okay. Flipping for you now, I believe. Heads. So you will say why that's a good movie.
Let me get my timer ready. All right. So the reason why Arctic is a good movie is because they take certain things, elements of movies that we all love, like movies like Alive, A Plane Crash, or movies like The Gray. What do these movies share? They share a guy trying to survive no matter what it takes. And there's nothing more important than seeing the human spirit tell himself, because he has this debacle. Should I stay here? Or should I go and possibly die, or possibly die here too? And that's like the debacle that when you watch these movies, there's heavy consequences on it, and you see throughout this thing, he finally sees this helicopter, and he goes and sees there's a woman, and he saves them, and then they go on this big old long journey. And the reason that, first of all, the fact that Mads is in this movie is always comforting, because he's great in everything he's ever been in. I believed his experience as this guy who is actually like dying and trying to survive. It was 100% believable, and the acting was maybe his best he has ever done. And all right.
Very much. Very much. What? Okay.
I don't cheat like you. Once that my thing goes off, I stop talking.
Uh, okay. So in this movie, he's presumably there for weeks or months. It's unclear at the beginning when the show starts. But why was help so late to arrive? Obviously, he took off from somewhere, didn't show up to where he was going. Why didn't the helicopter arrive a couple of days after? No explanation given. It's a survival tale. Of course, you're rooting for him, but the ending is very, you don't know. It's ambiguous. You don't know if he survived. Right at the end, he like lays down to die. And then the helicopter stops. And you're like, did he survive? Did he not? I want to know. I just went on this journey with you. Give me an answer. I don't want to determine it. Also, terrible acting by the main character. You get three emotions. You get Mads Mikkelsen. He's just angry all the time. You get Sads Mikkelsen because he's just sad all the time. And you get Bads Mikkelsen. He leaves his comrade to die.
We're renaming you to Mr. Giggles. That's what we're going to do for you.
I'll take it.
Oh, so how do you feel you did with that one?
I mean, I liked how I closed it out.
I felt like you started strong, and then you kind of started declining there in the middle. Well, and like anything else, and funny enough, and I think you're a fan of Mads too, but there's a little odd truth to like the first part you said when you said there's Mads Mikkelsen, which is true, because there is a kind of a certain thing where like you see someone like Denzel Washington, you're like, oh, he's doing his Denzel Washington thing. Mads does that very similarly too in a lot of his movies as well. And it's kind of like this certain like intimidation thing that he does, where it's like you look at him like, okay, I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's a fantastic actor, but sometimes his attitude or is just his basic demeanor is just Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But
I do like his look, and I think he is one of the, and maybe it's just because the Casino Royale is maybe just the best Bond movie, period. So maybe that wasn't even because of him, but it's just because of everything else too. But he was part of maybe the best James Bond movie of all time, in my opinion. Maybe top two, top three for sure.
I always thought the Mission Impossible movies were better than James Bond.
Well, the difference is James Bond is kind of a different experience every single time. It could be light and happy with if you have someone like Roger Moore, or it could be very serious if you have someone like Daniel Craig. Where Mission Impossible has kind of been consistent, and I guess that's something that even I say Goldeneye, but even James Bond can't necessarily do that, is because it's different. Like, oh, Moneypenny's a different actor every single time. I mean, different characters almost. different James Bond almost every time.
Yeah.
But all right, let's do one more, and then let's do maybe one of those character ones that we were talking about.
Okay. So Goodwill Hunting is the last one.
Oh,
This will be a good one.
oh Lord.
Then be flipping for myself. I got tails.
Oh Lord. Good luck for you.
Okay.
I mean, I know everyone's going, "Oh, I'm sorry, man," and they're looking at me going, "If you screw this up, then you're an idiot." I was like, "I know, I know." So technically I had the pressure, not you, because this is obvious. All right. So this is for a lot of people would consider Robin Williams' best movie of all time. It was done whenever it was written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, mostly Matt Damon, and it was written so wonderfully that there's like three monologues that to this day I still will get on YouTube and watch because they're so powerful. And you see like this beautiful like just cinematography and this and Robin Williams in my opinion is the best of all time. So any movie you have him in, especially as they make fun of him in Family Guy, bearded Robin Williams is going to bring a serious performance, and shaved face Robin Williams is going to be a silly performance. But you got bearded performance, and you get to see this beautiful back and forth with him and Matt Damon that you've never seen in any other kind of movie. And you just see this inner battle of this poor kid who's a genius, but he's an idiot because he keeps on doing all these stupid things because he had bad parenting. And it's this beautiful father-son kind of relationship that teaches. I started off kind of weak, I'm going to be honest.
Okay. All right. Here we go. This movie is about relationships, pretty much connecting to other individuals. I mean, that's at its core. That's what this is. But the main relationship of the whole movie is Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Like they've been growing up together in the system for years and years, best friends. But Ben Affleck comes out and straight up says, "The best part of my day is when I hope that you're gone and you're just gone from my life." What's up with that? That's stupid. Why can't Ben accompany Matt to wherever he's going? It's not like he's stuck there in Boston working that construction job. He could go do that anywhere. You know, why does Matt leaving mean that Ben can't follow? That makes no sense at all. Also, Robin Williams' character says to Matt that, you know, life experience defeats books. You know, like you should just get out there and experience the world. Well, why are we reading books then? Like, that's a terrible lesson. Like, if that's the case, why am I studying? Why am I reading books? Why am I going to the library?
Why indeed?
Why? I'll let the audience know.
Did that hurt your heart a little bit?
You know what though? I think that was a solid argument. The first part.
So I definitely not a bad part. So first of all, he doesn't have the gift like Matt Damon, and I don't think he was looking at himself like he was a failure because everyone knew that Matt Damon was so gifted that he truly, no matter what, is pretty much wasting his life. Where everyone else is kind of normal schmoes like you and I, and they're just kind of doing their normal thing. But Matt Damon can fix the world, and that's I think what Ben Affleck was trying to put out there. Like, dude, you're important. We need you to go out there and be you, and that's
But in the end of the movie, he wasn't going out there to conquer the world. He was just chasing a girl, and it was probably going to go set up a life where just and you know did whatever he could find. You know, it wasn't saying he was going to go pursue this great career. So why couldn't Ben go with him?
That's a good point. That's a good point. But I feel like the idea was Ben Affleck did not feel stuck, and Matt Damon did, and I think that's kind of the ultimate like feeling. Like Ben Affleck's like, hey, I'm content here, but I know that you're not. So and then yes. I still think that eventually Matt Damon's going to save the world because he was. I remember that one part whenever they threw that like thing that he wrote in the fire, and then you see Stellan Skarsgård literally like go into the fire and grab it real quick, and he's like brushing it off, and you just see like how important that document was to him and how unimportant it was to Matt Damon. It's just showing how like this guy was not just brilliant, he was like, you know, cure cancer kind of brilliant, and that's why it's like people were so like angry with him, like, dude, you're being an idiot and you're being very selfish with, you know, your gift. So I don't know.
So what you're saying is he was bad Will Hunting.
And that's what made you win at the end. Yes, play on words.
I know you lost, but it's not your fault.
It's, I know,
It's not your fault.
Lucas. I know,
Hey, it's not your fault.
not you, Lucas. Not you.
It's not. It's not your fault.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm making fun of that
It is
part.
your fault.
Your mom and dad were mean to you because you were a loser. Like, oh, okay.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, excellent movie though. Rob Williams has obviously many amazing performances, but that one right there, I think maybe just the content and maybe just like the emotions that are going back and forth and just kind of like that tension everything was so perfect in that movie. I just felt like it was just, I don't know, it was great.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you heard what I said about it.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say.
Yeah. Obviously, everyone knows the exact same thing. Like, oh yeah, it was garbage, hot garbage.
Yeah. All right. So on this one, I'll just do a random prompt, and then we'll pick a movie here. So this one will be for you, Nick.
Okay.
This is right up your alley. Favorite song or score from The Princess Bride?
Oh, okay. Am I good or bad on that, or is that we're just talking about it?
No, you're telling us your favorite song or score from that movie,
Okay, for 1 minute.
or just
Oh, just talking.
whatever.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, perfect. I'll be happy to. So, my favorite song by that whole thing, because the whole thing is actually. Let me see. What's the song called? Oh, Storybook Love. Storybook Love. That's my favorite song from there. Come my love, I'll tell you a tale. And it's done by this his name's Willie Garden, and he has this very deep voice.
I don't
and
remember that.
It's a very ending song because it has my storybook story. It's as real as the feelings I feel. It's at the very end, they're leaving on the horses. But I've been listening. It's actually on my top 250 songs of all time, anyways. So I actually I listened to it. So it's funny. It's funny to say that movie because that song, yeah, I just sang for you.
I know. I appreciate that. All right, here we go. Favorite performance in Toy Story?
And this is you.
Yeah, this is me. I mean, obviously Sid. I mean, no, no. I mean, obviously the little alien guys in the claw machine. I mean, they put so much heart into their performance. They actually make additional appearances in the subsequent movies because they're so adorable, and they sell what they're trying to do. The claw. They worship the claw. We all get that. We all feel that passion, and that's what a performance is all about.
I'm glad you could feel that passion.
Ooh, the claw.
Oh,
How much time do we got left?
we're good, my friend. I'll go and close up if you want.
No, I mean we could do a few more.
Yeah, let's do a few more then. Let's do a few more.
All right. Well, yours is favorite character from The Breakfast Club.
Oh, okay. Wow, going that way. God, that's kind of a tough one because without any of them, the whole thing kind of feels like off. But I would say the character that I probably think about the most when I watch it is probably Judd Nelson's character, the bully, and it's because I think it's just because you kind of see when I remember when I was young and I was watching, I remember thinking like, oh, okay, so the reason why you're a jerk is because that story you told us about how your dad was like, no, son, and how he was just obviously letting the audience know, like, no, I have a crappy father, and that's why I'm kind of a jerk too. And it just kind of just comes to show like this sad little thing that happens whenever you see how bullies usually are probably being bullied by someone else, and a lot of times it sadly is by a mom or a dad. So it was kind of just a sad portrayal, and I thought Judd Nelson killed it.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a good one. All right, let's see. Favorite scene from Home Alone. Uh, for me, it's when Marv steps on the nail. It's
You
so
see his
funny.
face. You see, ah!
Yeah, he, he just you can just feel that's the exact reaction you would have. It's just so funny.
No,
And I
no
don't know if you've ever
overacting
seen
or
it.
anything. It's just pure like, oh no. And
Yeah,
we've all stepped on something sharp before, and this is the actual nail. But we've actually stepped on like a tack or something before, and we're all thinking, okay, I've felt a fraction of the pain you're feeling now, and I would be screaming just as hardcore. And you know when you and Daniel Stern is he and funny enough, both him and Joe Pesci, they sell it so well that I mean I just can't see anyone else doing it.
no, yeah, it's impossible. I mean, they remade it, Home Alone 3 or whatever. It was not the same. I mean, it shows you that actors do make a movie.
Seriously.
All right, let's see.
Did you want to do one more each? One more each?
We can do one more each.
Cool.
We'll do the same prompt. Favorite quote from, and then let me. Here's a good one. Lord of the Rings.
Oh man, there's so many. I mean, there's so many. I mean, that's like there's so many like wise things. But I would say something that like, maybe has stuck with me the most, and it's not, and I'm not going to be able to say it word for word, but I think just the idea behind it. I've always been very scared of death, and there's a part whenever Pippin is standing with Gandalf, and they're about to have that big old battle, and he's telling him like, "Hey, I've never been in a battle, and I'm scared," all this stuff, and then Gandalf says, "Hey, you know, death is just another path." And I remember thinking it completely comforted me, and just that small little thing just kind of reminds you of why Gandalf is such a sweetheart and such a and easily my favorite character because of just his because of his intensity whenever he needs to be intense, and because of his very sweet, you know, just beautiful heart whenever he's trying to talk to the little ones. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Thanks.
I'm gonna do Lord of the Rings as well. There's so many, like you said, it's impossible to just, to come up with a definite one. But the one that comes to mind is, "You bow to no one."
Oh,
I mean, just you just feel the love for the hobbits at that point. The much love. I
well,
mean, it's
okay.
just
You have a guy who throughout the all three of the movies is being told like you should be the rightful king, and then finally he becomes the king and he deserves it. Aragorn is a awesome character and he's an awesome leader and I loved his character, and then everyone bows to him, like they should, and then all of a sudden you see the hobbits about to do it and he goes whoa 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 whoa, and I mean just the. I mean, and he was insulted. He was insulted. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You bow to no." And I just remember and then all of a sudden, da na 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 na, and then everyone just starts bowing to them. I'm just like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so good.
oh, and
What a great movie.
it's also a good way to kind of give you like a complete circle of not just even Lord of the Rings, but the Hobbit themselves, and even the journey that sadly that Schmiegel's even went on. All these, it kind of shows just like how these hobbits are such very fascinating creatures, and how Gandalf even says like, "Oh, it's just you guys still always seem to surprise me, even though you think you know them, and all of a sudden they do something wonderful." It's like, "Oh yeah, yeah," but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, as far as we know from The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, hobbits are actually the best race. You know,
they seem like to be the most, I guess.
Most resilient.
Resilient,
Most
yes, yes, and sadly,
kind-hearted.
humans are like probably the most least resistant, which that's a bummer.
Right.
And and
Yeah.
sadly, I got to like, okay, yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Even though the doors are known to be like selfish and but still we're the bad ones. Dang it.
Right. No.
Oh, but
Yeah.
yeah, man. Lucas, I appreciate you coming on, but I had a great time doing this, and you know, it is okay, Nick, it is okay, and I put debate number 1 on there, and of course, when I do number 2, you won't be a part of it, okay? No.
That figures.
I'm gonna take what you gave me, and I'm gonna give it to the world and say it was all mine.
Spin off.
Spit off. Yeah, I'm doing my Seinfeld. You can go ahead and do your Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay, they're both great, but
I like how you went to Seinfeld though, because that is the superior show to Friends. Yeah.
oh, finally we agree on something. But
Really? Wow.
No, absolutely.
You come from a strong Friends family. I'm
Yeah,
surprised you did that.
yes, and I have seen Friends from start to finish, and I remember I used to talk crap about Friends until I watched it, and then I realized there is something about it. One thing I despise, and sadly Seinfeld does this too, is I despise the laugh track, and once you take that away, I think you have yourself genius stuff. But funny enough, Seinfeld is to many people. I know you and me. I would say for sure top 2. Of all time, comedies of all time. So it is, I mean, that tells you right there, the proof's in the pudding. Like, it doesn't matter if there's laughter going on in the background. I'm still saying this is the best show of all time. So,
Absolutely. Good way to end it.
absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on, Lucas. I appreciate it, buddy. Maybe come on in a couple months and we'll try something new or try something the same, whatever you want to try. I don't know. You guys,
When do I get the check? Is that coming in the mail or?
we'll talk about that afterwards.
Wire transfer.
We'll talk about, and it wasn't a check. It was a free coupon for a grocery store. I don't know why you're so excited about it. Okay.
I don't need groceries.
You have a bunch of toys behind you. Okay. You spent too much money on that, and you need to go ahead and go get some groceries.
I need a gift card to Toys R Us. That's what I need.
Is Toys R Us even a thing anymore? You gotta go after you gotta go there, and then you gotta go rent a movie at Blockbuster after that.
Yeah. I don't know how it's bankrupt. I mean, look at all the toys I got.
Seriously, I am Toys R Us. Okay, buddy. Well, yeah, it was great talking to you, my friend, and we'll do this again real soon. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'll see you.
I'll see you. Take care, guys.
My love is like a storybook story, but it's as real as the feelings I feel. It's as real as the feelings I feel.